And now my impression of the first time I listened back to the audio of episode 5. Ah, shit.
Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Let's go, on board, let's go.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
And welcome to episode 6 of the Containment Unit. I am Tony.
I'm Lindsay.
And yes, episode 6. If you are a regular follower of the podcast, thank you to both of you. You'll probably see that we jump from episode 4 to episode 6. We did record an episode 5, but the audio got screwed, like royally. I don't know if the audio file itself was corrupted. I'm leaning towards it being
The new mic
that we bought, because we had 5 people on mic for this. So to make sure we had enough coverage, bought an extra mic. Mm-hmm. And not going to go into too many details about the behind the scenes here, but Lindsay and I use directional mics, and where, if you're not familiar with microphones, this microphone, you have to speak into it on a particular side. If you speak from the other side, it's not as clear.
It only picks up the audio from one point.
Exactly. So we're talking right into the mics. And we decided, hey, we're going to have some people over, we're going to have some friends from the Phoenix Ghostbusters over. We need an omnidirectional mic. I want a microphone that picks up from all sides. But those can be pretty expensive. So I found one, same brand as what we use now. Exact same brand. Came out of the package, plugged it in. I even did a mic test with it the night before we recorded. Everything seemed fine. And I say seemed because obviously something was screwed. There was something wrong here. Mm-hmm. And we were having some issues getting ready for the recording. I couldn't get any levels on that microphone, even though I got levels the night before. Just something wasn't right. And we got levels, and I said, you know what, we're just going to run with it. We're going to record. And we recorded about an hour and 15 minutes talking about Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. It was a good recording, too.
It was a great recording.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I got to vent about my frustrations with the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, and that jingle in the background is our dog who likes to hang out. Mm-hmm. Whenever we record. If you listen back, I guarantee you will hear her shake and scratch. She loves hanging out when we record. But we talked about Star Trek, had a lot of fun. We had Mark, first time on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Mark is a prop maker, and he even brought in a screen-used Tribble from DS9. I mean,
was it from DS9?
Yeah, it was from DS9. Yeah. Trials and Tribulations, the episode
where they went back in time to the original series. Yeah,
one of the greatest episodes of Trek of all time. We had so much fun, and then I go back and I listen to it, and it was horrendous audio. I'm going to try to tweak it, but
maybe we can get something. Out of it.
But that's the thing, is like nobody talks for like a little second of breath. Sounds perfectly fine. Whenever anybody talks, static, crackling, a little electrical sounds. Yeah. I think the mic is screwed.
It's also kind of hollow, too, like really quiet.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. So we also had Scott and Diane, who were on our episode about the best reboots. Yeah. Because they're big Trek fans. I mean, Scott cosplays as for Trek. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of fun with it. If the audio doesn't work,
Scott's also very passionate.
Yeah, Scott's very passionate about it, and I want that. I want this discussion to be aired. So we'll either air what we can, but if it's really bad, my radio background, I'm very picky. If it doesn't sound good enough, screw it. We're re-recording it. Mm-hmm. And if we have to, we'll bring everybody back over, get a different mic, get another directional mic, and re-record it. But a long story short, that is why we're
too
jumping. Very too late. So that's why we're jumping from episode 4 to episode 6, the worst movies we've ever seen. And this was a topic, not really pulled out of our asses, but it's not like one that it wasn't on the calendar, because we have a calendar of topics we really want to hit.
Right.
And this was a backup topic. In the event something like this happens, we have a list of backup topics, ones that, we don't necessarily need to talk about with a large group of friends. It could just be Lindsay and I. But if this is as fun as I'm hoping it's going to be, because I love talking about bad movies, we might do a part 2 and bring in people from the Phoenix Ghostbusters. So, talking about bad movies, we're just going to kind of, go off the cuff here, call it in the ring. I did very little research for this. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. So, Lindsay, off the top of your head, do you have anything?
Well, the problem that I have when it comes to really bad movies is my brain just kind of scrubs them all and starts from scratch. And so I really don't have much by way of memories of bad movies.
And I can attest to that, because there's been several movies where I mentioned something about it and you're like, oh, I've never seen that. And I'm telling you, no. We sat down and watched it together.
And I'm like, no, I think you probably watched it without me.
And I remember sitting on the couch with you. We did this just the other day. It was the John Travolta movie, the sequel to Get Shorty. Be Cool. And I remember watching that with you when we first got married, living in the townhouse back in Texas. I remember watching that with you. You have no recollection.
None.
And I'm sitting there trying to remind you, Dwayne Johnson, little afro, gay, come on.
Let's clarify here. We were not sitting down to actually watch Be Cool. We were flipping through channels and it was on HBO. And he's like, oh my gosh, that movie is horrendous. I'm like, really? I've never seen it. He's like, yeah, you have. I'm like, no, I really haven't.
And that's another thing with bad movies. We don't necessarily seek them out. I know a lot of people seek out bad movies.
Glutton for punishment.
Because of how bad they are. Like, to be perfectly honest, we've never watched The Room, the Tommy Wiseau movie that James Franco and his brother David Franco are doing the movie on.
Is that the Oh Hi Mark?
Yeah, Oh Hi Mark, how's your sex life? See, I've seen that part repeatedly. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. We've seen that repeatedly because that's like on Rip Tracks. It's on shirts. It's parodied by so many different things. I've seen clips of the movie. Never wanted to sit down and watch the movie start to finish. I hear Mariah Carey Glitter is one of the worst movies ever made. They joke about it in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Do they?
When Faith is talking about, well, prison's not so bad. You get exercise, 3 square meals a day, a movie every fourth Thursday. Oh, what was the last movie? Glitter. Yeah, I guess it can't be worse. Or something like it. It's like they were referencing how bad it was.
Yeah.
Never seen that. No interest in seeing it. But there are movies that we go, hey, that might be interesting. And then we check it out. But we're going to start off with one that we both seeked out.
Oh, yeah.
Because of how bad we heard it was.
Well, also because it has Gary Oldman in it.
Yes. Gary Oldman, one of the greatest actors of the modern era, was in a shitstorm of a movie.
My gosh, it's so bad.
So bad. And the reason we sought it out was because on Tosh.0, one of our favorite shows to watch, they did a whole thing where Daniel Tosh did spoiler alert, and it's basically he tells the audience a whole movie. And he did it was like a 3-minute clip. But
he explains the whole movie to the audience. He just cuts it down to a 3-minute clip and tells you, if you want to know the rest, go to the website.
Yeah, and you go to the website and he breaks it down like 35-40 minutes, tells the whole movie. And we're like, oh God, we've got to see this, how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's called Tiptoes. How would you explain this movie to somebody that's never heard of Tiptoes?
Oh my gosh, that is difficult. It's
okay. Well, first let's break down the top 3 cast members.
Okay.
Let's just talk about that, and then we'll explain the film.
Okay.
We've already mentioned Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yes. Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, and Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Those are your top three. Really big, heavy hitters.
Right.
Kate Beckinsale, not known for her acting ability per se.
Right, yeah.
Nothing against her.
No.
Just,
but she's one of those, what do you say, she's not...
Her acting ability, let's be perfectly honest, not as important as...
Her physical
appearance.
Not saying that her acting ability is bad. It's just that saying when she is looked at, when she's cast, when people go to see a movie with her, they're not going thinking, she's such a wonderful actress. I can't wait to see what she does. They're looking to see, she's hot. I want to go see.
The Underworld films.
Right, yeah.
Total Recall, the totally forgettable remake with Colin Farrell.
She was in that?
Yeah, she was. She was the Sharon Stone character.
Ah.
And, she played opposite Jessica Biel. So, again, another one of those actresses. But anyway, so she is the third major actor in this film against one of the greatest actors of all time, Gary Oldman.
Who is yet to be properly recognized for his ability.
One Oscar nomination. And then you've got Matthew McConaughey, who's had Oscar nominations, and then finally wins, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, really big names. And that's where the kudos end. Everything. Oh, let me back up. I'm sorry. He's not a headliner in this, but nowadays, when you tell people Peter Dinklage is in this movie, they'll want to see it. And he is possibly one of the more fascinating characters.
I don't remember his character.
He's a Frenchman. Who is just sick of life, and he's a biker.
Oh, yeah.
And don't they pick up Patricia Arquette or somebody?
I don't remember if they pick her up or if she's with him and he's actually just picking her up.
No, I think they picked her up she's a hitchhiker.
Oh, really?
Because he's friends with Gary Oldman, and we're beating around the bush here.
Yeah.
We have not yet said what is so ridiculous about this film. It's about little people. And Gary Oldman plays a dwarf.
Yeah.
And they do one of the most piss poor jobs of making him look like a dwarf, because they do you remember the Tim Conway videos of playing Dorf? You ever seen the Tim Conway videos?
No, I have not.
Tim Conway, one of the most genius comedic actors of the 70s, was on the Carol Burnett show. Had a whole line of videos called Dorf on whatever sport. Dorf on baseball, Dorf on fishing.
Oh, yeah. I remember those. It was the whole thing of he had the little feet and he would just kick them out.
Yeah, he had little feet, little shoes attached to his knees.
Right.
He's dug into the ground, so his calves down. So he's a little person, and that's part of the humor, and it's just ridiculous. It is that level of effects to make Gary Oldman look like a little person. And like you're about to say, his arms.
Yeah.
He's got his arms
pulled back and everything, so that his elbows are poking behind.
He's doing a really bad T-Rex impression. Like Colin Mockery on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whenever he does the raptor or T-Rex and he brings in his elbows and goes limp on his wrists.
Yeah.
That is what Gary Oldman is doing, walking around with a cane playing a little person.
Yeah.
And so the whole point of this movie is that Matthew McConaughey is what we would call normal-sized person in a family of little people.
Well, he's the only one who did not inherit the dwarf gene.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is I'm just trying very hard not to be offensive. Because,
right.
Well, normal-sized people, no.
No, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that. Someone's going to shoot me.
But, his parents are little people.
Right.
I think Gary Oldman's even supposed to be his twin brother.
Yeah.
And he's a little person, and it's the fact that he's dating Kate Beckinsale and has never told her about this side of their family.
Right.
And she gets knocked up, and he's like, "Oh God, what if we have a little baby?"
person? Yeah.
And then it's just there's no cohesion to the story. It's random. Gary Oldman meets up because they're at a little person's convention. And Gary Oldman meets up with his ex-girlfriend, who's played by a porn star named Bridget the Midget. And I'm not
Again,
saying
I don't remember any of this.
And and legitimately, I mean, Tosh even said this in his video, and you look her up on IMDb. It's Bridget the Midget, and she is this floozy who sleeps around and ends up at a party that they're all at, just going into another room and sleeping with David Alan Grier from In Living Color. And again, it's like Lindsay's blocked all of this out of her memory.
I have no clue.
There are scenes of this that are burned into my subconscious. Like, I can't unsee it. And you've got Peter Dinklage playing just this buddy that was going to this little person convention, who's a Frenchman. He's just sick of being a little person, all the health problems. He's an alcoholic, drinking himself to death. He's coughing up blood. He's a fascinating character. Everybody else is just really awkward to watch. And there's that one scene that when Tosh did his breakdown of this, he tells everybody in the audience about it, and he goes, "No, serious," and plays the clip. Where I don't even know if I want to repeat this, but
I am thinking of the line. It's making me laugh.
Matthew McConaughey is... Oh, this is definitely getting an explicit tag on SoundCloud when I upload it, just for explaining this part alone. Matthew McConaughey's talking about going to a summer camp with his brother where everybody in the summer camp were little people. And talking about things that they may have done, all these boys in the woods. And
because what happens in summer camp stays in summer camp.
And Kate Beckinsale looks at him and says, "You were in a circle jerk with little people? I would have loved to have seen that."
And he's like, "Oh, you're learning to use the language. That's good."
Yeah, it's because she wouldn't say bitch. But she's talking about seeing little people in a circle jerk. It's just, oh my God.
Take your breath, you're turning red.
Again, it is one of those films that watching it, by the end of it, you're like, oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But when you go back and talk about it with your buddies, you're going to be laughing your tails off.
Yeah.
And just to spoil the hell out of the movie, they have the baby.
Mm-hmm. The baby does have a dwarfism?
Yeah, the baby is very clearly, has the traits of dwarfism.
Right.
Matthew McConaughey can't handle it and leaves.
Well, he punches a hole in the wall first.
At the hospital.
After
it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. Oh, my baby's here. My baby's a dwarf. Ah! And then he punches the wall, just pissed. And then he leaves her. Mm-hmm. And so she hangs around with his family. He's abandoned not only his girlfriend and his child, his whole freaking family. Mm-hmm. And the movie ends with Gary Oldman holding the baby, sitting next to her, and Kate Beckinsale looks at him and goes, "You can kiss me if you want." Mm-hmm. And they kiss, and that's the end of the movie. And it's like, what?
It's like, what have I just subjected myself to?
What is the story of this movie? And seriously, why not get Warwick Davis?
Yeah.
Why not get an actual little actor?
Yeah. He runs an agency for little people.
Yes. And if nothing else, I apologize. I can't remember his name. This is just, again, we're just flying off the cuff with this one. But the little person actor that was on an episode of CSI did a couple episodes of NCIS where he played Abby's boyfriend.
Yeah, I know. I just don't know. You know how I am with names. I don't know names.
I can't remember his name. He unfortunately passed away. Did
he pass away before that was filmed?
That's my question. Is if he was alive at this time,
he would have been
perfect.
An excellent choice.
He had charm. He was a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And you could
good-looking guy too, very good-looking guy.
So because with Gary Oldman playing this part, they made him look so weird,
and they also made him look. Because I know that there is definitely an age difference between the two, but it was a very obvious age difference. Yeah. So it was like they're supposed to be twins.
Yeah, and so it doesn't match.
Yeah, you would think that they would at least have cast members that were similar in age, so that you could tell that there was that connection there. And I felt like it was all the actors in it are excellent actors. This movie was just severely miscast.
I want to know what blackmail footage
Right.
the writer and director had on this cast. Because I don't see how any of them could look at the script and go, absolutely, I want to do this. Because, again, Gary Oldman. Matthew McConaughey, this was not like early Matthew McConaughey. This was not Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, was a better film than this. This was just horrible.
And then there's that one trailer, and Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
Oh, yeah. And that is straight. And with the cliche voiceover actor, Gary Oldman, with the role of a lifetime. And you're just like, excuse me? What? Once you see this and you go, yeah, this is the role of a lifetime, because this is the one in his lifetime of films he probably really wants to forget.
Right. Right, yeah.
So, again, that is Tiptoes.
Yeah.
Forewarning, you're going to have a hard time getting through it, but once you see it, it's going to be something you enjoy crapping on. Now, one that I don't even think we enjoy crapping on, but we acknowledge it was just a bad movie, which was surprising with the director, but not surprising with the lead actor, Abduction.
Oh, yeah.
With Taylor Lautner.
Who's the director of that
John
one?
Singleton.
I don't know names.
Okay, so give me a second, because it's a little late for me. I'm a little tired, and we're just kind of flying off the cuff here. John Singleton, I think he did Four Brothers.
Okay.
But why don't you talk a little bit about Abduction from what you remember that you didn't block out?
I was about to say, I blocked this stuff out. I don't know.
But, again, Taylor Lautner, that should tell you right there.
Just that one line that he has.
Well, let's, if we can, explain the movie before we give away the worst line delivery in the history of film.
They killed his parents. So,
his adoptive parents. Okay, so basically...
Oh, they were his adoptive parents?
Yeah, they were his adoptive parents. So
Not a
basically,
clue.
Taylor Lautner plays this kid whose biological father is a spy or has information.
Not a
so
clue.
He's raised by his adoptive parents, played by Jason Isaacs, Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter films.
Jason Isaacs was in that movie?
Yeah, he was. Remember when there's a scene where Taylor Lautner comes home from a high school party drunk, and so instead of grounding him, Jason Isaacs takes him down to their little gym, because they're like a rich family in a Beverly Hills mansion. They go into their gym, and Jason Isaacs beats the shit out of him. They do sparring, and he beats the tar out of him to teach him a lesson. But what you find out is he's teaching him to defend himself, because Jason Isaacs and his wife, who I think is Maria Bello, who just joined the cast of NCIS,
Okay.
they are government agents working for Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver's in this
Oh
movie?
God, how much of this damn movie did you block out of your head?
I think all but that one line.
So basically, I'm a movie buff, so I definitely kind of remember things whenever I watch some films.
Your mind, when it comes to trivia, useless trivia, is like a trap. It's all just kind of in there.
Yes, it definitely is. So yes, Maria Bello and Jason Isaacs. The rest of the cast is Taylor Lautner. His love interest is Lily Collins, who
I don't know who that is.
She's an actress, been in a few things. The big thing is the last name, Collins. She's the daughter of Phil Collins, the singer, and was in Genesis. And the main villain is Alfred Molina, who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. So the whole thing is they're doing this this school project where for some reason they're looking up
Family genealogy,
like family
or something.
genealogy, and then they start looking up pictures of abducted children. And
how do those two connect?
I don't remember that. I blocked that part out. But basically, they find out that he was listed as abducted. And so he goes to his parents about it, his adoptive parents, and they go to tell him what is really going on, and they're killed. And now he's on the run, running from these people who put his picture up on the abduction website to track him down. And it's this really just Taylor Lautner's not a good actor.
No.
You know, I don't think he is the male equivalent of a Kate Beckinsale, like what we were saying earlier, is that nobody goes to his movies going, oh, that Taylor Lautner, he really nailed that scene. No, it's a whole bunch of teenage girls and middle-aged soccer moms going, take off your shirt!
Okay, speaking of Taylor Lautner, it made me think of a really bad movie.
Okay, so we'll hit that next.
Finish.
But we keep saying that line. There's such a bad line in there. And I don't remember. I think he's talking to...
He's on the phone talking to...
I think it's Sigourney Weaver's character.
Yeah, I don't know.
And do you want to even try to do the line?
I watched my parents killed before my eyes.
That is spot on with inflection and everything. We watched that. I don't even remember why we rented it. I think we were just like, well, let's give it a try. It seems like it could be interesting.
Well, because he was, when it comes to acting wise, he was one of the, I'm going to be so ashamed to say this out loud, one of the better parts of Twilight.
Oh, ouch. Just say...
Oh gosh, can I stab my eyes out? Will that take the visions of those 4 movies?
5.
No, 4. No, 5. That's right. 4 books, 5 movies.
Yeah, the last one, they went Harry Potter. You know, oh, Harry Potter did it. So we can take the last book, which is half the size, if not less, than Harry Potter, and split it into 2 movies. So they took probably an hour and 15 minutes worth of movie, added in a shitload of music videos, and made 2 films.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the whole thing is just he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, why should I trust you? I just saw my parents killed before my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of stopped and looked at each other and went, yeah, he's not going to make it.
Yeah, no, that's
and he
not.
hasn't. He really hasn't.
Right now, his biggest claim to fame is being one of Taylor Swift's many, many string of guys.
Yeah, I mean, that and Twilight. So, sorry, dude, your career is crap. If those are your 2 claims to fame.
He was in a TV show there for a while, but the TV show only went like a season. I think it was it Lie to Me?
I think he was.
With Tim Roth, I think, no, not Tim Roth. Was it Lie to Me with Tim Roth?
Okay, now...
No. I think it was the one with Christian Slater.
Oh, yeah, where Christian Slater was like a sleeper agent or
something like that. Yeah,
okay, I
can't remember the name of that one, but he played his son.
And I heard that was a really good show.
Yeah.
So, but... You know,
a lot of people were shocked when that went off the air.
Yeah, and but, Taylor Lautner Taylor Lautner can be in a good movie and still stink up the joint. But let's backtrack here for a second. And John Singleton, just to give you some background, because... this happens a lot. It's like, oh, this is directed by who? Or this person. And you look at me and go, who? What'd they do?
Not a clue.
So recently, he directed an episode of American Crime Story when they did the OJ trial.
Okay.
He did Abduction, unfortunately. But yeah, 2005, directed 4 Brothers, directed Too Fast, Too Furious, Shaft, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson and Tupac, and the big claim to fame, and this is what got him on the map, Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
So, directed some phenomenal films and got saddled with this stinker. And so
he must have owed somebody a favor or something.
Definitely had to, because this script was not good. I mean, just the fact is, we went on about Tiptoes for probably 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been talking for 5, maybe 10 about Abduction, and
Has
we're basically
it only been
done.
5 to 10 minutes?
Yeah, we're basically done because it was so bad. Because of that one line is what stands out. The rest of the film, we're like, maybe this happened, but...
I'm not really sure. I don't quite remember.
But that's how it's so forgettable. But that one line was enough that it's etched. And it becomes a joke where we see the movie at Walmart on the discount rack. That's the only place you're going to find it. And we just look at each other and do the line. And then just go about our day.
And it says, abduction for $5. Oh, they're going to pay me $5 to get it?
So now I'm curious. Talking about this, you said it reminded you of another film.
The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh, sweet mother.
Which I unfortunately have had a lot of chances to watch lately because the girls love that movie.
that is definitely a film like the Spy Kids movies.
Yeah.
Past Spy Kids 2. Mm-hmm. I will admit, the first 2 Spy Kids movies, great family films.
I don't think I saw the second one, but I saw the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the second one a little bit on TV here and there.
Well, I saw the first one in theaters because my mom and I took Ashley, my brother's ex-stepdaughter, to see it when she was real little.
Okay, yeah.
So,
but yeah, they were movies that you could sit there and watch with the whole family. The kids and the parents would find enjoyment. Then you get to like Spy Kids 3D, where they're in a video game. And isn't Taylor Lautner in that one too?
I have no clue. I've never even...
That's the precursor to Lava Boy and Shark Girl.
Yeah.
And just...
Lava
this
Boy
is
and Shark Girl?
Or...
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That's how... I mean, I haven't seen it. You're the one that's had to suffer on this one.
Taylor Lautner does like a rap thing in it at one point. Because he's a very accomplished martial artist.
Yes.
Right? And so it's just basically a point to have him like break dance while like rapping or something. It's really, really bad. And then there's this one line where the main kid, who's not Shark Boy or Lava Girl, Taylor Lautner plays Shark Boy, but the main kid, Max, is the whole thing of he's the daydreamer. He's the kid who dreams with his eyes open. And at the end of the movie, he's facing off against the bad guy, and he goes, "I'm the daydreamer. I dream with my eyes open." I'm like, oh my gosh. I know he's only like 10 or 11 or 12 or something like that, but I'm like, no. No. No, it had to have been younger than that, I think, because one of the girls that's in it, she's the girl that the main character has a crush on.
Okay.
And she plays George Lopez. She plays his daughter.
Oh gosh, she was on the George Lopez show?
No. George Lopez is in the movie.
Okay, gotcha.
He's actually one of like the executive producers and stuff like that of it. Okay,
yeah.
And this girl who plays his daughter in it, she was Allison on Pretty Little Liars.
Okay, you were heavy into that show. I didn't get into it with you, but
pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes.
I've seen enough to get an idea of who you're talking about.
And she plays George Lopez's daughter.
Yeah, that seems like very believable casting.
Yeah.
Okay, so off the top of my head, I've got 3 movies that I could talk about here.
Okay.
I don't want to make this a huge, extra long episode, but I know for a fact you have not seen these 3 films.
Okay, I do have one more that I can give a little bit of something on.
And I was going to ask you, before we get
Okay.
into any of those, do you have anything?
The only other one that I have, and again, not a clue of anything that happens in this one, partially because I walked out of the theater after 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I think I was with my brothers too, and we all just kind of looked at each other and went, "This is crap," and we got up and we walked out. It's the only time I ever theater hopped. I have no clue what other movie we went and saw, not a clue, but it was a Van Damme movie called Quest.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I rented that on VHS.
Oh, wow. That's dating.
Yeah. I rented this on VHS from Blockbuster Video. How dated is that shit? But yes, I know exactly. And Van Damme in the decline of his career.
Yeah, and we were like, "Oh, it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Let's go see it," And then after like 20 minutes, I think we were all 3 of us starting to like fall asleep in the back of the theater, and so we just kind of looked at each other and we said, "This is crap," and we got up and we left. And it's the only time we ever theater hopped. Like, what else do you want to go see? And so we went to another theater. I don't remember what we saw, but.
Okay, so before we get to the ones that I mentioned that I know you haven't seen, I did want to pose a question to you because I did very little research on this.
Okay.
And by little research, I just Googled on my phone worst films of all time. And it took me to a Wikipedia article. And I just kind of went down the list. And it had it by decades. And there were some on there that it's like, okay, Glitter, haven't seen that. Caligula, I really don't even want to talk about Caligula.
Oh my gosh.
And we've seen that, and I can make
We rented that out of a morbid curiosity
Yeah.
because it has like historical, the film itself is. I'm not talking about the film being historically accurate, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about the film itself having a
historical
impact.
significance.
Yes, thank you.
And I mean, we can just very briefly. It's like Roddy McDowall, Helen Mirren, Peter O'Toole, great actors.
Those people were in that movie.
Yeah, Peter O'Toole is like a Roman emperor dying of syphilis, and it's notorious for being pornographic,
Right.
Like full blown pornographic.
Like you can find it at adult bookstores.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason I really don't want to talk about it is
It's disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
It's so disturbing,
especially at the end when.
Oh no! Don't.
But basically, I'm not going to go into detail, but the Romans rise up and overthrow Caligula and his family, and it's violent, brutal,
so brutal,
and upsetting for us at the time because we were new parents. But Caligula's on the list. And then there were movies that were on the list, and I'm like, that's not that bad. Like Highlander 2: The Quickening was on the list. And I'm like, no. Even the original theatrical cut is crap, but it's not one of the worst films of the 80s.
Yeah.
Highlander 2: The Renegade cut is actually a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, is it?
But there were two movies on the list. One, I would say definitely one of the worst films of all time, but not really. I wouldn't bring it up on my list because I wasn't personally offended by how bad it was. And another one that I think for the most part is kind of universally agreed to be one of the worst comic book movies of all time. But they had Catwoman on the list. I've never seen Catwoman all the way through because I saw the trailers and knew it would be a steamy pile of crap. But the two films that were on the list I wanted to ask you about. First, Battlefield Earth.
Never saw it.
Never saw it. Okay.
At least not that I can remember.
John Travolta doing a space film that
Does he have like dreads?
Yeah, it's him and Forrest Whitaker. They're playing like the 9-foot tall aliens with dreads.
Okay, I saw trailers. I never saw the movie.
I saw that in theaters with my mom because she wanted to go see it, and this was during John Travolta's resurgence. So it's like, hell yeah, he just did Face Off.
Right.
Let's go see Battlefield Earth. Oh my God, was that such a horrific film. And I, if I remember correctly, it was written, like the original book was written by L. Ron Hubbard, who started Scientology, of which John Travolta is a major proponent of. So Battlefield Earth, I would go more into it, but I truly don't remember all of it other than the basic idea of these aliens come to Earth, overthrow the government. Now humans are slaves, and then these slaves are supposed to mine for gold, and then they figure out how to fly fighter jets. Yeah, exactly. And I can tell you for almost certainty all of that's in the movie, but I can't tell you how it makes sense.
Yeah, how it all kind of works together.
Exactly. So the other film, the one that I think is universally recognized as a terrible comic book film, but would you call it one of the worst films of the 90s? Batman and Robin.
Trying to remember which one that is. Is that the one with Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy?
Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, and then George Clooney as Batman. The movie where he was asked after Brokeback Mountain came out, would you ever play a gay cowboy? And he said, I already did. It was called Batman and Robin. People would go up to him and say, I saw Batman and Robin in theaters, and as apology, he would open up his wallet and give him a $5 bill.
Really?
Yeah.
To give them their money back for the movie ticket?
Yeah. So would you put that on a list of worst films of the 90s, at least?
I was kind of biased. I had a crush on Chris O'Donnell at the time.
Young Alicia Silverstone in that movie.
Right.
After she did all those Aerosmith videos.
Right.
Yeah, I walked into it going, oh, Alicia.
I did hate her aspect of it, though.
She was atrocious.
She was horrible in it. I did not see a connection. I mean, even as a girl who at the time had never read a single Batman comic, but like watched other Batman movies, watched the old series with Adam West, stuff like that, I knew that Batgirl was not Alfred Pennyworth's niece. I mean, that's
Barbara Gordon.
I mean, it's right there.
She's not Barbara Pennyworth. She's Barbara Gordon. There's a freaking... Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
And, and then also there were just aspects to her performance where I was just kind of like, no.
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred. It's like,
oh,
really? I saw that in theaters and I was like,
I always wanted to play Batgirl because the 1960s Batgirl
with Yvonne Craig, yeah.
Right. That was my first, she was my first like girl power, feminine, icon, stuff like that. And I loved her. I would sit there and watch the Batman show and wait for her to swing across on the rope because then I knew she was going to be in the episode, and that was what I waited for.
And just to clarify, in case anybody's not familiar, season 3 of the original Adam West Batman series, you could tell whenever Batgirl was going to be in it because they animated her swinging through
across.
The credits.
Yeah, and so I would wait to see if she was going to swing through because by the time I was watching, it was already 20 years in reruns.
Wait, you're telling me you didn't see it live in 1969? Being born in 82, you didn't go back and watch it in 69?
Yeah, I hadn't yet discovered time travel.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, gotta stop giggling. But so I would just wait for her to come across, and I'd be like, "Yes, Batgirl's in this episode." So she was my first real, like she predated Buffy in my, hero worship or whatever. And to see Alicia Silverstone just butcher that part, I'm sitting there going, I want to be Batgirl just so I could actually do a good job of it.
She was the next live action Batgirl.
Yeah.
After Yvonne Craig.
Yeah.
And really, when you think about it, I think the only other live action Batgirl was what was her name? Dina Meyer in
I don't know names.
Birds of Prey, that series that had one season, and it was with Huntress. Yeah, Dina Meyer played Barbara Gordon, or Oracle. So she played she played Batgirl in like flashback scenes. But this was a show where the main 3 characters were Huntress,
the female version of Robin.
Yeah, but in this she was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman.
Okay.
Oracle and Dinah Lance.
Okay.
And so they were the main 3. They were the original Birds of Prey. And then the main male in that was Shamar Moore. Who everybody knows from Criminal Minds now.
He's not on that anymore. He's got a new show coming out.
Yeah, he's got a new show coming out, but he kind of made his name.
Right.
But just looking real quick, Mia Sara, who was Sloane in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, she played Harley Quinn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this was in the 90s. Mark Hamill voiced the Joker when they did the flashback scenes to Joker shooting Oracle and or Batgirl turning her into Oracle.
We have gotten completely off topic.
I know, but I just had to bring that up, that for Batman and Robin, she is one of 3 live action representations of Batgirl. And is the worst by far.
Yeah.
And the other 2 are the iconic Yvonne Craig, and then a poorly reviewed 1-season show that was on, I think, WB or even UPN back in the day.
Yeah.
So the more I think about it, yeah, Batman and Robin, one of the worst films. In terms of comic book movies, I would put it up there with films as bad as Superman Returns. So I wanted to ask you about those 2 films because they showed up on the list of worst films of all time. Before I got into the 3 films that I know you haven't seen, and I'm going to just go with the titles right off the bat. The Love Guru, Jack and Jill, and Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star.
I think I saw some scenes from the first two, but I never saw the third one.
Okay, so Love Guru. Mike Myers did a movie so bad it killed his career.
Did it really?
It definitely did. Because he did the third Austin Powers, Goldmember, which was not as well received as the first two films, mainly because of Beyonce. A lot of people are excited right now because Beyonce has officially been cast as Nala in the live-action Lion King, or CGI Lion King reboot.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Beyonce is a shit actress.
Yeah.
I have never seen her do anything good on screen. I've seen the other members of Destiny's Child do some pretty good roles.
Yeah.
She's a great singer. Put her in front of a camera, she's like a plank of wood, just no personality whatsoever. And she was in Goldmember trying to channel her best Pam Grier, and it didn't do good. But Mike Myers did good with his roles, so it was worth watching. Then he did Love Guru, where he plays a white guy who was raised in India because his parents were missionaries that were killed, and wants to be a guru like Deepak Chopra. And this is Deepak Chopra is like a self-help guru who was on Oprah. And so you've got Mike Myers going around with this kind of sort of Indian accent, but it was very offensive. Like, he's traveling around the airport to go to America, or I'm sorry, he doesn't even go to America. He goes to Canada because, hey, if you didn't know, Mike Myers is Canadian. So they got to throw in hockey. They got to throw in Canada. And he's traveling around the airport on a motorized carpet.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Dead serious. Ben Kingsley, Academy Award winning actor Ben Kingsley, freaking Gandhi, plays a cross-eyed, farting Hindu master. Or not, Hindu master. And they do some of the most ridiculous scenes with him where they're training to fight with pea-soaked mops. Yeah, and this movie is a cluster muck from start to finish. Mike Myers is wearing a chastity belt with a Hindu elephant on the front, and then he's falling for Jessica Alba, another person whose looks far outweigh their acting ability. She's never done good in anything, and this is no exception. And then, of course, because he's wearing a chastity belt, they have to make the gong joke, where she starts doing something sultry, and then you hear dong, because he hit his chastity belt.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my facial expression can't make a sound.
Yeah, Lindsay's looking at me like I'm picking my nose and flinging it at her. It's like she's got this look of disgust.
Yeah, I was like, that would have been more. There would be noises with that one involved.
But Lindsay's just got this look of shock and disgust. Vern Troyer is in it. He plays the coach of the hockey team that the Love Guru has been hired to help. He's trying to help the star player who's I can't even remember his name, but I hate to say it this way, but I'm just going to say it, the black guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I never saw 40-Year-Old Virgin.
So he's trying to help him get his wife back, because his wife left him for another hockey player played by Justin Timberlake. And Justin Timberlake is doing this cheesy Eurotrash French accent. And it's just, there's nothing redeemable about this film. And I'm a big Mike Myers fan. Loved him in Wayne's World. I love the Austin Powers movies.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Such an underrated film. That movie is a lot of fun. Mike Myers was great. And then one film have you heard of Mike Myers since 10 years ago when Love Guru came out?
I just assumed I wasn't paying attention. I mean...
Yeah, we haven't heard from him. He's done very little, maybe an appearance at Saturday Night Live here and there doing Wayne again. But this is how bad the movie is. back about, I would say when it came out, maybe 10 years ago, I could be off on my timetable. There was a movie website that I really loved, spill.com.
Mm-hmm.
And they did movie reviews on a scale of as high as Better Than Sex to I would pay full price in the theater, I would buy it on DVD,
Yeah, I would rent
buy it,
it.
rent it, and it went down to the lowest level that they had was called Some Old Bullshit. The Love Guru made them get a lower rating than Some Old Bullshit. And I will bleep this because I'm going to kind of cut things to a certain level. They had to create a new rating. F*** you. Because when they reviewed that film, they were irate that they had to sit there and watch this movie. They were so mad at Mike Myers that the review just turned into, Mike Myers, f*** you, f*** this movie. Just, they went nuts. So they created a brand new lowest possible rating just for this film. That's how bad it was. So next one, Jack and Jill.
Mm-hmm.
I did not subject you to this.
Yeah, you showed me, I think you showed me one scene, but I don't remember.
And I don't blame you. Now, I will say that I watched this out of morbid curiosity because of the review that Spill.com did.
That's just because you're a sick bastard.
I very much am. I was never the biggest Adam Sandler fan.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time, The Longest Yard.
Yeah, the remake.
Yeah, and when he is serious in his comedy, he can be really good.
Mm-hmm.
When he's doing just ridiculous stuff, Adam Sandler's lost it.
Yeah.
He's lost his touch. Happy Gilmore was strangely enjoyable. The Waterboy was enjoyable.
I don't like that movie.
I enjoy aspects of it. It's not one that I'm ever going to add to our collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one that I will ever seek out.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm bored and it's on TV, I can sit there and watch it. Fairuza Balk plays his girlfriend in it. She's so creepy crazy in it. It's kind of fun to watch. But anything he's been doing in the last 10 years, Adam Sandler has turned into the laziest SOB in Hollywood.
Well, hasn't he even admitted that the only reason why he makes movies now is to have an excuse to go on vacation?
Yes. No, he's openly admitted to it. He is pumping out absolute cinematic shit just so he can write off going on a cruise, going out to a cabin with his buddies for the grown-up films, going on an African safari with Drew Barrymore. He doesn't care about making movies anymore. It's just an excuse to go hang out with some friends for 3 months and get paid for it.
Yeah.
And people are still going to see this crap.
Yeah.
And so Jack and Jill.
And that right there is why the Hotel Transylvania movies actually do good, is because they're in a sound studio. They're not off having fun doing stuff like that. He has to take it seriously.
Yeah, and people don't even pick up on the fact that it's Adam Sandler and his buddies.
Yeah.
You have to remind people, no, Adam Sandler's playing Dracula. You've got Kevin James, David Spade. I think Rob Schneider's in there somewhere too.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi is in it. His buddies from all of his films show up in the Hotel Transylvania
His
films.
daughters are in the second one.
Yeah, but you don't see them. And again, like you said, they're in a sound studio. They have to actually perform, whereas they're just messing around on a cruise ship or whatever, like they did in Jack and Jill, where he plays twins, identical twins, a male and a female.
Okay, then they're not identical.
Okay, sorry, I'm but in this case they're identical because he's playing both of them.
He's just wearing a wig and a dress when
Yeah,
he's the sister.
and so identical that Jack masquerades as Jill for the end of the film by putting on a wig and a dress. And this movie, again, morbid curiosity, I had to watch it on fast forward. We had a DVD player at the time that when you hit fast forward once, it would go at like 1.25 speed and the audio would still be going. So you could still hear it, but it was fast paced. And that's how I watched the movie, because I could not stand to watch an hour and a half. I got it down to about an hour. And it was just Adam Sandler doing the most offensive, loud, stereotypical Jewish woman shtick.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just there was no comedic elements to it other than loud equals funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this character that is Jill is this character that has no redeeming qualities, and she's just, why does everybody hate me? I'm going upstairs to take a Hershey squirt.
Ew.
And it's just like, why are we supposed to
give me a reason to care about this character?
Exactly. There's I feel no sympathy to this character.
Mm.
For me to, one, find anything that she does funny, and two, to feel bad for anything she's dealing with.
Mm.
I feel nothing whatsoever. I agree with the rest of the family who says that she's a pain in the butt.
Mm.
And then they have to bring in one of my favorite actors as her love interest, Al Pacino. And he's doing Dunkin' Donuts commercials in the movie, doing Al Pacino cappuccino.
Oh my god.
And he does a rap scene. And like Johnny Depp's in there for just a quick second to basically go, "Hi, I'm Johnny Depp," and then leave. And Al Pacino is like rubbing up on Adam Sandler as Jill and like groping her, like not like sexual predator groping, but like flirtatious, and he's trying to teach her how to play stickball in his house with his kitchen staff, and she hits the ball and breaks his Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to make a joke about the fact that he only has one Oscar, and it's just like, you're hurting us enough. Now you got to remind us that one of the greatest American actors has only gotten one Oscar. And then by the end of it, again, I have no reason to like her, but now it's like, oh, everything is resolved and they're a happy family. And why?
Mm-hmm.
Again, was
there a lesson learned? I didn't see it.
Yeah, no lessons. And I think this movie bugs me more than any others that Adam Sandler's done, because this was truly like the kickstarting of him not caring.
Mm-hmm.
He did Grown Ups, which I watched parts of, and it wasn't as bad as this.
Mm-hmm.
But after this, that's when he did That's My Boy, where it's a film. I didn't watch it, but I read up on it because it was glorifying statutory rape.
What?
Yeah, That's My Boy. Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live is the main character, and his dad is only 14 years older than him. Mm-hmm. His dad is Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
And it was playing off the things that happened in the 90s where a teacher would sleep with their student and have a child. So he is the product of statutory rape. And they glorify it throughout the whole movie because, oh, the teacher was hot. And at the end, it's revealed that the teacher was Susan Sarandon.
Okay.
And so it's glorifying all this crap. Again, it's Adam Sandler playing this ridiculous, unlikable character that you're supposed to feel bad for.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's just crap movie after crap movie. And then he did Pixels, which people wanted to lynch him for. And Jack and Jill was enough that I have not had any interest in any Adam Sandler movie ever since.
Yeah.
So the last film that kind of came to my mind, again tied to Adam Sandler, because he produced this.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star.
Okay.
Again, I watched it out of morbid curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
because I heard how bad it was.
Because you're a sick bastard.
Very much a sick bastard. But if I could wipe this film out of my memory, I would take the option in a heartbeat.
You can borrow my brain for a second.
I wish I could block this out, because I love Christina Ricci. Wednesday Addams, Casper. I grew up going, oh, Christina Ricci, she's so cute. She's going to do all these great films. And I was less creeped out with her playing the sex-addicted girl in Black Snake Moan than I was with her in this film. So Bucky Larson is this overly buck-toothed, weird Iowa kid with a bowl haircut,
mm-hmm.
who is completely oblivious to things of a sexual nature. his buddies say they're going to get together and watch an adult film. And they're watching an old adult film from the 70s, and they recognize somebody on the screen. And then they recognize the other person, and they realize it's Bucky's parents. He goes to talk to them about this, and that's when they reveal that they were popular 70s porn stars. He's not thrown off by the fact that they were porn stars because he's so oblivious to this whole situation. All he understands is his parents were stars. He's the son of 2 movie stars. So it's his destiny to go to Hollywood and be a movie star. So he goes to Hollywood trying to be a star, falls in with the porn scene, and becomes a beloved porn star who never participates in the movies because he's a quick draw McGraw, and he is so tiny they can't see it.
Okay.
They go to some very extreme lengths with this film.
Is that a pun?
No. I can see how I'm trying to pick my words very carefully because I don't want to be crude with this podcast.
Yeah.
But to explain the fact that it's a whole plot point that he is Quick Draw McGraw. Mm-hmm. If I really explain that, it would get kind of crude.
Okay.
And kind of, for some people, very disgusting. Because in what they try to be comedic, in an attempted comedic way, they try to make a bodily function funny.
Okay.
And it just does not. It just comes across as what? Mm-hmm. And so he's in these movies, and he becomes this beloved porn star because of how he looks and because he is very small statured, that regular guys are sitting there going, hey, I feel like a stud compared to this guy. And he becomes popular and starts, like, he goes on the Tonight Show because of how popular he is from these videos. And his girlfriend becomes Christina Ricci's character, who came out because she wanted to be a waitress. Like, it's her life's dream to be a waitress, but she has a problem carrying plates.
What?
Yeah, I wish I was making this up.
This is the part where you put that Minion meme in there.
What?
Yeah.
And she's sweet. I mean, it's Christina Ricci. When she plays a sweet and innocent character, she nails it. Mm-hmm. And so she's just playing this really sweet character that you're like, okay, I get that she would feel something for this guy because he's like stupid innocent. But then they get to the point of them being romantic. Mm-hmm. And she goes, wait, do you have protection? I got it. Don't worry. She reaches over, grabs a straw from her soda, clips off the tip, holds it over a candle to sear one end shut, and then goes back to him and says, here you go, and puts it on him. The insinuation that he's small enough that a straw will be protection.
Wouldn't that just come off really easily? I mean...
Again, this movie is not meant to make sense. This movie has a collection of, oh dear God, I feel bad for this actor. Don Johnson from Miami Vice plays the porn director. There's a couple of guys from Saturday Night Live, like Kevin Nealon. If you're an old 90s Saturday Night Live fan, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Stephen Dorff. Was it Stephen Dorff who, from Blade, the first Blade film? Is that what his name is?
Something
Stephen
like...
Dorff, or something like that. Yeah, he's in it as a rival porn star. Mm-hmm. And it... Again, no redeeming factors. We opened this whole episode laughing our asses off at Tiptoes. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed trashing that film. Mm-hmm. We are just so subdued right now because I can't think of anything worth joking about with these films. Mm-hmm. it's just...
Some movies are so bad they're offensive.
And that's the thing is, I don't get offended easily. I love offensive humor. I love the things that just push people's buttons when they're done right. Mm-hmm. This offended me on an intellectual level. Like, I was offended that they thought this was humor. And Nick Swardson, who plays Bucky Larson, he's been in some Adam Sandler movies. He was on Reno 911 as a recurring character. Terry, who was a gay male prostitute on roller skates.
Oh, him?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's Bucky Larson. He went off on critics, saying, you guys just don't understand comedy. No, it's pretty apparent they understand comedy a lot better than you. This was just comedy that insults your intelligence. Mm-hmm. I can only equate it to Larry the Cable Guy as a comedian. Mm-hmm. He's successful. I don't get it. Mm-hmm. We've seen him live. We walked out. Mm-hmm. Because he is telling jokes that I'm pretty sure our 8-year-old daughter hears on the playground. Yeah. There's no intelligence whatsoever. It is just the dumbest humor possible.
Yeah.
This is worse than that. There's just no justification for this humor. If you walk into Walmart trying to buy a copy of Jack and Jill or Bucky Larson Born to Be a Star, you should get a complimentary slap in the face. I really hope that what I'm saying here is enough to get people to go, I never want to see that in my life.
Oh, it's not. People will be like, now I am morbidly curious.
And if you are, don't blame me. I'm very sorry. But if it's on Netflix, if it's on HBO Go, don't even try. It's a waste of your time. If you like funny films, you're going to be bored to death, and you might even feel somewhat insulted, like I did, that they would actually consider this entertainment. Mm-hmm. So part of me feels bad that we started laughing our tails off. We could laugh at some really bad movies and bad line deliveries, and then we get to the end where it's just anger.
Yeah.
We have to admit, there are films that are just so bad they piss us off.
I was sitting here looking at our DVD collection, kind of like, where's a really bad movie? And I'm like, why would I have a really bad movie in my DVD collection? I wouldn't. So there's nothing there.
I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show the other week. People call that the greatest bad movie of all time.
Yeah.
That is Academy Award-winning caliber compared to the movies that we have talked about here tonight.
Yeah.
There are movies that are so bad they're good. UHF.
Yeah.
The Weird Al film. A lot of people say that's... I don't agree with that. I think UHF is a really good film. But, yeah, we don't seek out bad films for our collection. We may watch them out of morbid curiosity. I think that's why people like The Room with Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
It's not because they legitimately like it. They just like
crapping on it, making fun of it,
and how he talks and how weird it is.
Yeah.
And it's a meme. That's what it's become. But I think that the films that we have talked about here, no redeeming factors whatsoever.
I wish I'd had more to contribute, but because I know I've seen really bad movies. I know I've seen movies where I just stop and I go, wow, that was a waste of my time, or
Well, and I envy you so much right now, hun. I envy you being able to block these out. And like you pointed out, I've got a steel trap of useless knowledge in my head.
The bad part about it is the fact that I actually block out good movies. I block out good movies that simply didn't make an impression at first, like Blade 2.
And that, yeah, I would definitely say that, the fact that you can't remember that is sad, especially because it has
Ron Perlman in it, who I love Ron Perlman. I've watched it like 3 times because I can't remember what it's about, and then after watching it, I'm like, did I watch that? Yeah, I know I watched it. I just don't remember what it's about.
But I think this is definitely a topic. I would love to revisit this with a full complement of people on mic. I would love to get some ideas from other people of just legitimately the worst films they've seen. And not just, oh, I was so disappointed in that. No, I want a film that you walked out of the theater on. I want a film where somebody told you, you have to watch this, it's great, and it's so bad that you're not friends anymore. That is how bad of a film that we need to talk about. So,
and we can add TV series to the list.
Definitely. And we talked about this a little bit off mic, but we're already a little bit longer on this than I anticipated. But real quick, I wanted you to tell me about the TV series that you were going to bring up.
Both of them or just one of them?
Whichever, however you want to do it.
Well, one was a Netflix series called The Fall. Now, it has actually been approved for season 4 and is going to keep going, right? And the acting in it is good and everything. It's just there's no actual real development. There's no character development. There's nothing that really helps to tie all these characters together into this cohesive whole. It's just all very separated, and like actors who are like third build, you barely ever see them, and their characters have just nothing to really do. You could write them out and they'd have absolutely nothing at all to do with it. I mean, it's only really basically about these two characters, and everyone else is like ghosts. They have no purpose whatsoever. And by the time I finished watching it, did I say the name of the show?
Yes,
okay.
The Fall.
By the time I finished watching it, the only thing I think was, well, that was a waste of my time. Like, I'm just kind of like, what I don't understand why this has been approved for a 4th season. I just wasted my time.
We have to clarify that when you start a series,
I binge watch.
You binge watch, and you have a hard time letting it go. Mm-hmm. Like, because you're like I think a lot of people, where once you start it, even if it's bad, you're like, maybe it gets better. Yeah, I gotta
know how it ends. What's gonna happen? And the first 3 seasons, the story arc has ended. Like, the big bad that Gillian Anderson's character was going after, he is out of the picture, so they're having to start a new story arc. And I'm like, why? This story arc has ended and you wasted my time. Why waste more time? It's pointless. Sorry.
All right, so real quick, what is the I think I know what it is, but the second show may be a remake of a popular 80s show?
Yeah, it was just into here recently, so it was like a recent show, the CW's Beauty and the Beast. I am a diehard fan of the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast. If I could find a copy of its original printing from the 1700s, I would, but it was made out of, fragile like newspaper material, so it's probably all disintegrated. Anyway, rant. So if any copy that I can find of any story of Beauty and the Beast, I want to find it because I love it. And so when they found out they were remaking Beauty and the Beast from the 1980s series, which I absolutely love, I was like, oh, cool, all right.
Another Ron Perlman reference, and for people that may not be familiar with it, it ran 3 seasons. Ron Perlman, Linda Hamilton
as the Beauty.
As the Beauty. And this was after the first Terminator movie, so she was a name.
Yeah,
and she was only in it for the first 2 seasons, and that's a whole another frustration there is.
But so then I was like, okay, so let's see what they do with this, and then they casted Katie Kruick as
Kristen Kruick.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, then they casted Kristen Kruick.
She's so unimpressive that it's easy to forget her name.
Well, I don't remember names anyway, so
from Smallville, and then. Her other claim to fame, which had we seen it, I'm pretty sure we would have talked about,
right, is
Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, which I hear is one of the worst films of the last 15 years.
Yeah, but I had to blog about it. I hijacked, Tony has a blog that he does for the radio station that he worked for, in not a blog, it's just articles. He let me hijack his posts to do an opinion piece and rant about how bad Beauty and the Beast is, where I watched the first 3 episodes, and then I said, no, I think like the first 2 episodes or something, and then I said, no, I can't do it, it's horrible. And then I'm like, it's Beauty and the Beast, I need to give it another try. And then it was on like Netflix, I think, and so I made it through the next like season and a half. I started over and made it through a season and a half, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore.
Yes, this one was so bad, you broke your your desire of having to know how the
story ends,
that you just said, screw it, I'm done.
I don't care. I don't care how the story ends, because just they automatically assume the audience was idiotic. Like, they're saying stuff, oh, well, I can probably explain your fingerprints being on the evidence because you were at the crime scene. I'm like, she should have been wearing gloves at the crime scene. And then another character, the crime in this episode, this girl was murdered, and they find out later that the girl had been pregnant, and they're like, oh, well, maybe they didn't pick it up in the autopsy. I'm like, you really think that they didn't pick up in the autopsy what a home pregnancy test picked up?
After the blood test and after the physical examination.
And I'm just like, really? I mean, it's all a bunch of stupidity. And then the Beast actually physically, Vincent, he actually physically hits her. And with his, super strength, he pushes her back several feet, and she slides across the ground. And then he is all ashamed of himself, and he walks away. And then she's talking to somebody else later on, and goes, but he didn't mean it. And the guy that she's talking to is telling her, listen to what you sound like. And I'm sitting there going, yes, listen to what you sound like.
You sound like someone from Twilight.
And then later on, she catches him kissing another girl. And I'm like, he's hitting you, he's cheating on you. And you're like, maybe we can still make this work. I'm like, you weak little, go in the corner now. You need a timeout. And it just, I could not stand it anymore.
Well, and this was a CW show that was thought up in the wake of Twilight.
Right.
And I'm not going to get into it right now. This is definitely a discussion for another episode.
Twilight deserves its own podcast.
But let's be honest. Twilight, the image of relationships,
yeah,
and the image of what they feel to be strong female characters
and romance, and
yeah, all of those images are so skewed and so dangerous. And the CW audience is basically the Twilight audience. It's the same demographic,
right? So
I can understand where they were coming from. They just definitely picked the wrong horse to hitch their wagon to.
And apparently with the Twilight story, there are 15 points that psychologists look at for what defines an abusive relationship, or 15 points that can define an abusive relationship, and apparently the Twilight story hits every single one of them. There's something like that.
And again, this is something that we can dedicate a whole topic to, but just to wrap this up, if you need to realize just how dangerous the images in Twilight can be for young readers talking about love and romance, Twilight started 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey was Twilight fan fiction that was turned into its own story. That should tell you right there how dangerous for a young reader the ideas of Twilight can be, that it spurns that crap.
But how it connects back to the CW Beauty and the Beast is that, she's got these ideas of, he's cheating on her, he's hitting her, she is helping him hide from the cops because and hide from the government because he's technically a fugitive and everything, and yet he is turning his back on her to spend time with his ex and stuff like that. And then at one point he realizes, he goes, oh, I'm a dick. And I'm like, yeah, you don't change. He realizes that he's a dick, but he doesn't change.
I'm sorry. Just the way you're talking about this, it's so romantic. and she never catches on. And all it does is glorifies it and romanticizes it, and it's just, at some point you've got to have them learn a lesson, and that's just the relationship bit. The forensic bit, where they just assume the audience is stupid and
I couldn't take it anymore.
Just really insulted the intelligence of the audience.
Yeah, I couldn't stay in the story because every single time I tried to watch an episode, the only thing that I saw was this wouldn't happen this way, this wouldn't happen this way. And there are also things like Katherine Chandler was no longer this strong character. Linda Hamilton created such a strong character with Katherine in the original series, and she wasn't that anymore in this. She was just vapid and weak, and I'm gonna say it again. I couldn't take it anymore. It was seriously, when I die, if I go to hell, they're playing Beauty and the Beast for me as a torture.
Ow. Okay. I think that is the perfect way to end it there, that your own personal hell is the CW's Beauty and the Beast on loop. But I do want to thank everyone for bearing with us on the delay, because we were supposed to have an episode up this past Wednesday. It's going to be a week later that this finally goes up. But yeah, we're going to do everything we can to get the missing episode 5 either fixed and posted or just re-recorded. But coming up soon, we're going to be recording something from Phoenix Fan Fest. I'm not entirely certain what that's going to be.
Yeah.
I know I was just told by our crew with the Phoenix Ghostbusters, we do have a table set up there. We're going to do everything we can to meet Ernie Hudson. I doubt we'll get him on mic.
Fingers crossed.
But fingers crossed. But I was just told, bring your setup. So we're definitely going to be recording something from Phoenix Fan Fest. And then the weekend after that, I think we're going to have to record another movie review, because we already have our tickets bought, and all the trailers and the clips that I've seen, I'm so giddy with excitement. Justice League.
Yeah.
And
the red cape. It's gotta be Clark.
It's gotta be. And that'll make sense more when we talk about this, but we just watched a clip today that had the original Danny Elfman 1989 Batman music, and I got chills. So that's going to be a coming episode soon, and I'm forewarning you now, that's going to be a spoiler heavy episode.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have to go on about it. But thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you for bearing with us and letting us rant and opening our hearts for this very hard subject.
Such a dork.
I am, but I love you.
I love you too.
But thank you again for listening, and we'll see you very soon.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.